Hello, everybody. Hi. I wanted to welcome all of you viewers, to our next podcast with Coffee with Cody. We used to have Coffee with Cody and Carly, but Carly has moved on to sunnier environments and she's not with us anymore. This year we haven't had any Coffee with Cody vlogs. We've had a lot of happenings with COVID, the elections, just a lot of things coming up. So I thought we'd end with two guests from Nebraska who are currently in college. Before that, we've got to do our signature coffee mug showing, everybody. There we go. Here's to you. I chose the Grinch mug because this year, I tell you, is just kind of fitting to show the Grinch and Christmas coming up soon. So we have two students with us today. I'll let them introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about themselves, their majors, what college they're attending. And Molly, you want to start off?
Sure. Hi, I'm Molly McAvoy. I'm a first year student at RIT, and my major is criminal justice, and I'm also in the pre-law program there.
Perfect. Great. Shayla?
Hi, I'm Shayla, and I am a current Gallaudet student. I'm in my second year, and I'm studying as a biology major, hoping to become a horticulturist.
Great. You notice we have a Gallaudet student and an RIT student, so rivalries, but they're both Nebraskans attending college, so that's great. First of all, I guess I want to talk a little bit more about your college experiences. How are they addressing COVID there? Are they changing to remote? Do you have in-person classes or do you have an option? Shayla?
Well, at first, when I went to Gallaudet last spring, everything was fine. And then, of course, at spring break, everybody went home, and everybody who was home for spring break, they told us to just stay home. And so I had gone home with about 4 bags worth of things. So I stayed home with my stuff and finished the semester online. And then in the fall semester, they had it all online again. And it looks like the spring semester is going to be online as well. So I have Zoom classes with my teachers for their lectures. And then we use an online software called Blackboard where we post our homework and have discussions with classmates. It's been interesting. And rumor is hopefully in the spring or fall of 2021, we'll be able to be back on campus. So we'll just see how it goes.
Right. Wow. One full year of online. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Molly?
Sure. At RIT, they closed in the spring when COVID first started, and then they opened again to allow students who wanted to go back to campus to return. They also gave us the option to stay home and do things online if we wanted to. And I actually was on campus, but doing online classes and living on campus. They really left it up to the students to decide what we wanted to do.
Wow, that's tough. There's a lot of changes we've had to go through. So I know the schools, one said virtual all the way, and then Molly, you've got the option of being in person. So have they made any measurements there to make sure, taken any measurements under their wings to make sure that you're all safe in dorms, using apps to monitor students there? Molly?
Yeah, so RIT, it's really kind of an interesting COVID policy. They screen everybody to almost every day to make sure we have to check in and let them know, whether or not we're having any symptoms, and you have to pass that to be able to go to campus. And they have the student health center. You have to go to there for your appointments to check. And before you go into the bus or the school buildings, you have to monitor. They do kind of keep track if anybody tests positive, and they send out notices to folks who maybe live in the same dorms. And you're not allowed to go to different floors within the dorm buildings. You have to stay on your floor, and they have different levels that they let us know as far as the environment safety. So it's like green, yellow, orange, red, that kind of thing.
Geez, wow. Lots of restrictions floors and all of that. But it seems like they've got a good policy in place for the college. I mean, you got thousands of kids there all
Yeah.
interacting. Really got to monitor that. Shayla, I know you're virtual, but Gallaudet, are they doing anything?
Well, actually, right now, some of the students are still, because they were able to go back if they wanted to, but they limited to like 200 people on campus. So you had to fill out an application that was, kind of justifying why you needed to be able to be on campus versus not being able to do things virtually. So they do have some flexibility with that, but you do have to apply to be able to live on campus, and they do limit it to that 200 people. And you have to get your flu shot, and they said that you have to get the COVID vaccine once it's available. So now that they do have that available, they're sending that out to students who are going to be on campus, are required to get it. So that's what I've been hearing from my friends who live on campus. Also, they require you to wear masks when you're on campus, of course. There are some people who, well, I guess they said that the cafeteria is closed. So that was an interesting thing that I didn't know was going on. So it's kind of interesting, all those things they're doing at Gallaudet.
Right. Well, those people that don't have a place to live or, financially, it's nice that Gallaudet's offering that option for at least up to 200 students. This first semester just happened. So, how did that transition work out for you? I know a lot of people were just thrown into it, learning virtually, using Zoom technology and all the different technology that's available. Has it been easier for you guys? Harder? I mean, what are your feelings? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Shayla?
Well, last fall, it was a hard transition for me because it was my first time. I prefer going in person, and I was looking forward to doing that and meeting new friends. And so now I have to be really self-motivated to do everything from home. It's a little bit tough when you're at home trying to do that. I have to communicate with everybody via email, and I had to register for classes and all of that stuff online. So I really prefer to be on campus and in person, and I learn better that way. But it's been a transition to try and communicate with folks online and to do all my homework that way, and try and navigate who do I need to contact if I haven't contacted the right person, and get a hold of my classmates virtually. It can be kind of overwhelming. So, and this is my last week. We're almost done. I'm ready to get my finals out of the way, and then after winter break, we'll see how it goes. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, hopefully, I know it's your last week. People or who are deaf, we typically want these in-person classes, we want to be amongst our peers, and I know it's not easy. Molly?
For me, there have been positives and negatives. Positive is that I can really attend class from anywhere. I used to ride the bus a lot, and I could, do my classes online. So it was nice to be able to check in. Another positive is I can wake up like 5 minutes before class and just log in, and my, be wearing my PJs, and my refrigerator's right around the corner and I'm ready to go. But the negatives are that I don't have that face-to-face interaction. I don't have that easy access to classmates and my instructors. Uh, but where I am, it's still nice. It's not too bad.
True. Yeah, that's true. Zoom, there you got 20 boxes of your students that are in your class. I can imagine that. That's got to be difficult. Big part of college really is sports and activities and events, the community and the school getting together, trying to do a variety of things. Now, social distancing is in place, limited number of people in one room. So, the two of you, are you still active, or have they come up with some new clubs or activities to keep you guys involved, or is it pretty limited? Molly?
RIT has done pretty good job of keeping people involved. They host events maybe outside where social distancing is enforced. They had a movie that they showed outside, kind of like a
That's
drive-in
cool.
idea, and everybody could be kind of sitting apart. And they had pods. The gym has pods too, so you can still go work out there. And we still have clubs that are active, but everything's being held via Zoom. So there's a lot of activities to be involved with as long as you're still wearing your mask and social distancing. And it's made it a little bit more challenging to meet new people, but there's still the opportunities to get involved.
Sure. For RIT students and alumni, a big part of that is Deaf Basketball Association. Do they still do that? DBA?
No, no, they're doing more like Xbox tournaments and things like that. So it's still something related with sports, but they're not playing the actual games.
Yeah, instead of actually physically playing, you're playing video games.
Yeah.
RIT technology. There you go. Shayla.
Well, they have some things still, programs going at Gallaudet, like the newspaper will post the campus newspaper will post the Buff and Blue will show different things, and they're doing the sports related video games, just like Molly said they're doing at RIT. They're having Netflix parties where they'll have, you can watch a movie together virtually, or they'll have different Zoom chats where they'll just have it's like a social time where you can get together with people. And I've been focusing more on my education, so I haven't really had the chance to get too much involved in clubs and things this semester. I talk with my friends who are doing that, and I just sort of on my own FaceTime and Zoom with friends so that I can still have that social interaction. It's not a lot different for me. But I know that Gallaudet always has a lot of things to do. And my friends who are on campus say that they are being creative about that. But I'm here at home, so.
Yeah, boy, I've noticed a lot of use of video games and Netflix and Zoom. I tell you, we're really using technology nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So Shayla, you said that B&B, what is that?
Oh, that's the Buff and Blue.
Oh,
It's the gold and blue is the colors at Gallaudet, and so Buff and Blue is the like on campus newspaper.
oh, a little bit blurry there. Hold on a second. Okay, repeat that again. Buff and blue.
Yeah, so the Buff and Blue is our Gallaudet's tradition that we have. Buff meaning like because we're the Bisons, and so buff like big and strong, and gold and blue is our colors, so blue. And so they came up with Buff and Blue as their on campus, kind of like a newsletter or a newspaper that has events and things that are going on, updates about COVID, different approaches and announcements to things that are happening on campus, and also resources for folks who might be feeling isolated with quarantine stuff or need some support with their mental health issues. The Buff and Blue posts different resources that are available on campus that people can reach out to too.
Oh, very good, very good. They share a lot of their resources with them. That's awesome. So I know, like, there's been a lot of cons with negativity with COVID this year, and sometimes we find those little positives out of there. Any of you found any positives out of COVID, Molly?
Yeah, actually, growing up in Nebraska in a small community, coming to Rochester, and there's a huge deaf community here, and I've met a lot of people, and I'm very thankful for all of the people that I've been connected with here. I've gotten some lifelong friends that I've met through attending RIT, so I've really been able to meet a lot of people.
Great, great. Yeah, Shayla? Oh,
Well, just kind of like what Molly said, DC is a very big place, and it's kind of a different world from where I grew up. And I'm a small town girl from Nebraska, and so I I guess one positive with the online learning is that I can do my homework from my bed, and I can be here with my family, and I don't have to go anywhere. And I miss out on a lot of the things that are going on in DC while I'm here at home. But other things that I've missed out of, for example, that I would have, if I was in DC, I would have missed out on things here at home. Like, for example, my nephew who was just born recently. I wouldn't have been able to interact with my nieces and nephews and my family members if I was in DC. So one positive is being here at home is that I can spend more time with my family that I wouldn't have been able to if I was far away. And I can do my hobbies, and I have a lot of the things that I hear. I'm learning a lot of things that to how to,
Yes.
take, yeah, take cool, like household kind of things that I might have avoided if I wasn't here at home. But it can be kind of distracting from my schoolwork too. So I'm driving myself instead of having to ride the bus. And so I'm more independent. I'm gaining those independent skills and things like that being at home.
Right. Yeah. Meeting new people, being able to be portable. Your class can be done anywhere. You can still be with your family. Yeah, there's some positives there. It's great to hear that.
Hmm.
So now, with COVID and everything that's come up in our lives, school, high school, closing early, changes now with semesters starting this fall. I'm curious about your expectations, I guess, prior to starting with COVID coming about. And now, after your first semester's under your belt and you're soon going to be in the spring semester, what are your expectations before and after? Shayla?
Well, before, I mean, at first I was really lucky because I went to Gallaudet for that first year. And so I got to experience the on-campus life and what it was like to quote unquote have normal college. But then when COVID started around spring break or whatever, I remember that people were getting sick, and I didn't realize that it was COVID and that that's what was really going on. I just thought that people were just getting sick. And I'll admit that I just didn't really pay attention. And I thought that it wasn't that big of a deal. And then people started getting more sick and things getting worse, and the college decided to send everybody home. And that's why I decided to stay home in the fall when they said that you could apply to go back to campus. I thought over the last half of the spring semester, I kind of got used to being at home, and I decided to stay home in this new normal. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's tough for college students, really. Yeah, missing out on all that what college has to offer, getting only the few experiences. Molly, with school closing, high school senior, you going into college. So next semester, what are your expectations, I guess, moving forward?
For me, I was really lucky because I graduated a quarter early from high school. So my last day of school was actually March 12th, and that was right before everything was going on lockdown. So I had already graduated and I didn't have any classes or anything. So virtual school started for me in the fall, and with the wearing of masks and all of that stuff. So it was kind of after the first wave of COVID really started, but it was still very weird and very new. But then I kind of got used to it, and it just kind of became like that's what you do, social distancing and wearing masks. At first it was a little bit strange because you want to hug your friends and you want to see people. And so it's still a little bit weird. I'm getting used to it.
Right. I think there's some funny gifs out there that say, there's two people with their awkward hugging. The deaf community are big huggers. It's a big part of us. And to eliminate that, it's going to be kind of awkward when we go back to this new normal. All right. So let's see. Now, some of us in our audience that are watching, maybe they're in high school now, maybe they're a senior, or they're soon to start college, or maybe they're preparing to transition to virtual. You guys have any advice for these people who are thinking maybe they're nervous or preparing to be going off to college? What should they expect? I mean, things that you know now that you can share with our young Nebraskans. Molly?
For me, COVID kind of threw everything for a loop, but there's still so many good things that you can find in there. So I would say, make connections with people, find opportunities to go and do things when you can and when it's safe, and find ways to be thankful for the good things that happen. And so focus on the positive.
All right. Yeah, little things in life, right, that we tend to overlook. Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Shayla?
I remember one of my high school teachers told me, find out what your resources are and use them. And I feel like that's really applicable to life, especially as a college student. And the the Gallaudet, for example, has all of the resources in place. And so I would assume that most colleges do. Use those resources that are available to you. Look at their websites and find out what's going on and find out what resources are available for you. COVID or not, it's still important to look for those resources and really put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to meet people. And if you have questions, ask them. People sometimes feel like their question is going to be dumb or they're too shy, but go for it because that's how you find out information. If you don't ask, you'll never know. So I would say use your resources, ask questions, and figure out what's available for you at your college and take advantage of it.
Right. Great point. Lots of times we get resources through emails or somewhere and yeah, I don't need that now. And then later you think, oh yeah, I remember that was provided to me. So right. Great. So lots of great resources that people are unaware of that can come about. So yeah, great. Encourage we encourage kids to check that out. Well, that pretty much wraps up our interview today. I hope everyone here watching has gotten a better perspective of what our deaf Nebraskans have gone through with their transition in college. Hopefully, getting something out of today. Thank you, Molly and Shayla, today for sharing your perspectives, your thoughts on this new and sensitive subject. Thank you again.
Thanks, Cody. Thank you.